Hello and welcome to part 4 of the Bouquet Toolkit. This video is all about leaves. So there's two basic ways that I make my leaves as standard. One is just as a single leaf, and the other is as a wired leaf. So I'll just do a quick run through of the equipment that you need, but if you'd like more details then do watch part 1 of the Bouquet Toolkit, where I talk about all of the equipment and all of the templates as well. But basically, if you're making wired leaves, you'll need some wire, some high-tack glue, or PVA glue. I do prefer the high-tack glue in general. An old tea towel or a dry cloth, and some scissors. If your wire is particularly thick, you might find it handy to have some wire cutters, but with this thin garden wire, you can usually just cut it with scissors, so yeah. So first of all, I will just talk about making the single leaves, and then I'll talk about the wired leaves. Do feel free to use the timestamps or chapters in the video description to jump to the part that you need to watch if you're following one of my tutorials. So for a single leaf, I would normally use the Daler Rowney Canford paper. I like to use quite a thick paper, and for a single leaf you could even use card. I believe the Canford paper is about 150 GSM. It might be 120, but I definitely wouldn't use anything less than 120 GSM for the leaves. So cutting a single leaf, very simple. Pick your template. I would normally use leaf template number 1 for all of the single leaves. And then all you need to do is just cut around your template, cut out the leaf shape from your paper. If you would like to put some little notches in, I would normally turn the leaf shape towards me, so the point's facing towards me, and I would put a couple of snips to make like an upside down V shape, just to cut out a couple of little notches. And I usually only go about 3mm deep on each cut, and I'll space them out evenly and maybe put 3 or 4 in on each side. So once you've got your leaf cut, and if you've decided to put the notches in, then all we need to do is attach it to the flower. Now, on some of the arrangements I will insert the flower between roses, and I'll show you how to do that on each individual tutorial. But if you're attaching it to the outer edge of a rose or on a single stem, you want to try to make sure that you catch 2 petals. If you only catch it on 1 petal, it will tend to drag that petal down because of the weight of the leaf, really. But if you catch 2 petals, then it tends to hold nicely in place. And with the high-tack glue, you can reposition it if you make a mistake, but also it holds it nicely in place and it won't fall off. PVA glue just isn't as tacky as high-tack glue. I mean, the clue's in the name, isn't it, really? But yeah. So yeah, that's the simplest method of adding a leaf to your book rose. So the wired leaves, I would tend to cut the leaves in pairs. And what I normally do is I fold the paper so that the template, the leaf template, will just fit on the piece of paper that we folded, so that we can cut 2 templates at the same time together. I like to cut them together just so that I know that I've cut them the same size, because even when you're cutting around a template, there does tend to be small discrepancies in the sizes. That's life. So to sandwich the wire, so keeping the leaves in their pairs, what we want to do is put some of the high-tack glue right around the edge of the leaf shape and up the middle where the wire is going to go. And then with a length of wire, and I'll detail specific lengths in each of the tutorials, but in general I would cut about 20 to 25 centimetres of the wire. On one end of the wire we will align it along the centre of the glued leaf shape, and then take the second leaf template and press it down firmly on top. Then holding it at the bottom, holding the wire and the very bottom of the leaves, and using a dry cloth, I will just press down so that the glue spreads out within the sandwich, and also the dry cloth you can use to just rub off any excess glue. And I'll frequently use the other end of the wire on the next set of leaves as well. If you want to cut notches into your leaves, the process is exactly the same as it is for the single leaf template. With the point facing towards you, we'll just cut into the side of the leaf about 3mm, and then just adjust the scissors to make a little upside down V shape and cut a notch out that way. So all of the other leaves on my template sheet do follow the same process for the wired leaves. I usually prepare them all in pairs, even if I want to add them as singles. It's just easier that way. So to add florist tape to a pair of leaves, what we need to do is bring the leaves together, press the wire in, and then using the florist tape just under the leaves, wind the florist tape down about 4 or 5 centimetres. You don't need to go right to the very bottom of the wire, as it will be hidden in the rest of the arrangement. And if your florist tape isn't particularly sticky, then you can use a little bit of PVA glue just to hold the end in place. So if we want to have 3 leaves together, trim one of your pairs of leaves so that you have one pair of leaves and one single leaf. Arrange the 3 together so the single leaf is in the middle, then raise up or bring up the single leaf about 1.5 to 2 centimetres above the pair of leaves. And then I'll put a little bit of high-tack glue where they meet, just under the pair of leaves, and then wind the florist tape down about 5 centimetres so that they're all nicely held together. Now I will use the high-tack glue when I'm adding a single leaf to a pair of leaves. It just helps to hold them together when they're all dry. If you prefer, you can twist the wire from the single leaf a little bit around the wire that holds the pair of leaves, but I find the high-tack glue will hold it nicely, so yeah, I wouldn't normally do that, it just adds some bulk sometimes. If you want to add a spray of leaves, once your leaves are bound with the florist tape, bend the wire on the leaves at about 2 centimetres beneath the lowest part of the paper leaves. Line them up with the stem and make sure they're poking out at the side of the flower about 2 to 4 centimetres. You can change this for your own personal preference, and I will specify on each of the individual tutorials if the leaves need to be poked out a little bit further or a little bit less. So we just need to secure the spray of leaves in place with the florist tape. You can put a little bit of PVA or high-tack glue if you prefer. If it's just 2 leaves I'm adding to a stem, I wouldn't normally bother. But if the spray is quite weighty, then I probably would use some high-tack glue. So that's the very basics of how to make the leaves on wire. The process is exactly the same for all of the other leaf shapes as well. And if you've got any questions, do leave them in the comments below.